going over there, my friend?
It's going really, really well. So we're out of lockdown. The weather's just decided that it's no longer summer or autumn for us, so it's starting to get really, really cool. But yeah, it's apart from that, everything's going really, really well.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's strange today. It was
Yeah.
like because I'm in Los Angeles and it was freezing this morning, and then it's now all of a sudden it's like 90 degrees, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's really hot. So, uh, so I was a bit warm just
Yeah.
prior to coming on with you. Do you need me to do video or is this all right?
Audio is fine. Yeah, it's for radio, so audio is just fine.
Oh, okay, great. I
So
see a lovely picture of you.
I guess the first question should be, what are you doing in LA at the moment?
Well, I live here.
Okay.
I've lived here 20 years now, and it kind of feels like home, really. Although, I never get used to Americans, but at least LA is full of non-Americans, so it's kind of cool. No, I ended up here, and I was working in a studio here, and I was lucky enough to sort of work with a few people, and then one thing led to another, and um, now I'm just here, and I'm quite I guess you'd call it blessed or whatever, and yeah, it's quite nice, really, and like it's post lockdown now here.
Yep.
But I'm a bit of a boring old soul, and I don't really go out much or do anything. But I'm quite happy here with my two dogs, who will no doubt interrupt at some point during this interview. I've given them some little chewy bones, but they'll go and eat those, and then they'll come back. But,
That
yeah, so I live and work here.
Yeah, that's all right. I've got a cat here that's likely to interrupt as well. He's eyeing me off at the moment like, you're sitting down, so it might be time to come and sit on you. So, yeah, we may have some animal interruptions.
Totally the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you start talking to someone, and then they're just like, right, pay attention to me.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about what
So
it's...
I've heard good things about your show, by the way. I've heard very good things about your show. I've only caught it once, but I know it's all over the interweb.
Yeah. So that's probably been my big change during the lockdown is being able to do the show from home now rather than going into a studio. So that's something that's changed here, and I think it's going to be the way that it stays, because I think even the big names in radio here now are broadcasting from home. So yeah, I think that's going to be a something that's going to stick around for a while.
That's good.
Yeah. So what was it like being in LA as a musician during the lockdown? Because you've got a new release out now, but what was that actually like during lockdown, and how difficult was it to work on your music?
For me, it wasn't. It wasn't really a hindrance at all. I mean, I had lots of other little jobs, audio related, like sound design and some post stuff, and all that went out the window for quite some time. But I'm not particularly a touring musician as such, or I haven't been. We'll see what next year brings. But yeah, lockdown really wasn't that hard for me, because I had this album I was working on, which I'd been working on, like a year prior. It just gave the opportunity to sort of rewatch Game of Thrones and like watch everything, take my dogs for more walks, and write more songs, and really sort of finish up the album. So I was quite lucky. I mean, obviously, so many people were just completely screwed by it. They couldn't go to work or this or that. And their circumstances weren't as ideal as mine. I'm quite lucky. I have quite a nice little place in Culver City, which is on the west side of LA, and it didn't really affect me
Yeah.
I'm honest, because I'm so boring.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going out to clubs and shows and stuff every night anyway. So
Yeah. It's actually really interesting because I've spoken to a few musicians that actually very much introverts, and for them, they enjoyed the opportunity because for once in their life, they didn't have to worry about going out to their day job or anything like that, and they were able to more stay at home and work on music. Is that an element of it that you actually really enjoyed?
I love it because I end up getting up quite early. I'm sort of not a late night person. I can't work through the night anymore. Those days are gone. So I would get up early and work, and also I'm a big football fan. So if football was gone for 6 months, but when it came back, I was quite enjoying getting up. I had the soccer matches on the TV. I had my dogs, and I'd be working away, and it was quite nice. I totally understand where some of these other people that you spoke to really enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
I mean, there's social interaction and all that kind of stuff, but that's going to come back eventually.
Yeah.
I was just quite pleased to not have to talk to too many people.
Yeah.
And I was actually quite busy, and then I got some work in that I could do from home. And then, I don't know about you, if you experienced this, but, you probably had bored friends who would text you or whatever and expect an immediate answer because they thought you were lying around on the couch all day.
Yeah.
But you were probably busy setting up your show.
Yep.
And I was busy doing all sorts of things, and I was just like, I'm really sorry, but I've got to go. I'm a bit busy right now.
We also had the weird thing here where I'm a country boy originally, but I live in the city now, and so a lot of my friends that I grew up with, they were still in country Victoria, and they weren't in lockdown. It was only metropolitan areas that were in lockdown. So for a lot of them, life was going on as normal, and I'd be seeing all these photos on social media of them catching up at the pub and having dinner, and I actually found I started to feel jealous. I'm like you, I'm not a person that likes to go out a lot, but I like to be able to go and watch a film in the cinema, or I like to be able to go out and have dinner. I couldn't do any of those things, but they were. So there was kind of like this almost like jealousy building up inside me.
Right, I can totally appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, going down the pub occasionally or going to the cinema. Actually, one really sad thing that happened literally last week, there's this, in terms of cinema, a big casualty of this whole COVID thing. There's the cinema chain here in LA. I think there's one in Boston and Chicago and New York as well, called the ArcLight. And it's just such a nice experience to go to a movie theatre or go see a movie there. Because, you can go and get a drink. No one's on their phone. It's just like people are there to see a movie, and it's just really, really nice. You get a seat assignment, so you can pick your seat and all that kind of stuff. And they're closed down permanently now, which is a real shame.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was really gutted.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I don't want to go down the local AMC and sit with people on their phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a really sad thing.
Yeah. So
amongst all the other sad things.
Yeah. So Julian, bringing it back to your music, tell us a little bit about the album that you've got coming out. For all the listeners out there, tell them a little bit about the title and what they can expect to hear on this album.
Well, it came about because musically I hadn't really done too much for a number of years. Well, not serious music. I do a lot of reality TV music, which pays the bills, which is quite good. But I wanted to sort of, about 3 years ago, I decided, right, I'm going to do this album and some of my songs. And I sort of set about, writing some songs and rehashing some old ones that I'd never done anything with. And then it turned into this sort of monster, and I called it Featured because I wanted it to be, number one, a cool name, which took me ages to come up with that, but I don't know if it's cool or not, but anyway, so, and because I'm such a lousy singer, I wanted to have different singers on it. And I wanted it to, I really like female vocals, so I set about trying to find a bunch of really cool vocalists. And some fell by the wayside because they were awful. But there's 6 or 7 singers on this. There's an EP that came out just before the end of the year, like November. And then I put the album, I think, and it's called Girly, because I just thought, it's got girls singing on it, so let's just call it Girly. And there's 14 songs on the album, and there's 4 songs on the EP, and there's some fantastic female vocalists. And it's sort of a cross, I don't know, it's not every song is the same.
Yeah.
It's not an industrial album. It's not electronic body music. It's not shoegaze. It's not this. It's not that. It's just like there's some poppy songs, and then there's some songs that are a bit in your face, and there's some angry songs, and there's some songs that sort of take the piss out of various genres of people, i.e. Brexit voters and Trump supporters. There's that kind of aspect, and I feel I'm very proud of it. I feel it's a nice cross section. It's got some sort of industrial elements. It's got some trip hop elements, and some pop elements. So your purist industrial, Nights at Ebb fan is probably going to go, I don't like that because it's not shouty. But
Yeah.
there's some shouty bits. There's some quite good shouty bits actually. But then there's also some, there's melodies and there's harmonies and there's like stacked, female soul vocals on some of these tracks, which I really wanted to explore, and I think it works really well on some of the songs.
Yeah.
It's like some of the songs it's like kitchen sink productions, or just everything is in it. And like I say, it's I guess if you had to sort of put it somewhere, it's kind of it's like a cross between Garbage meets 9 Inch Nails in an alley and has a fight with Massive Attack.
Yeah. Now you got me wondering who would win out of that fight, because I know Shirley Manson's pretty feisty.
Yeah. Yeah. She'd probably beat the shit out of Trent.
Yeah. So
she's Scottish, so.
Yeah. So the female vocalist that you found for this album, tell us a little bit about how you discovered those artists, but also how you knew which was the right artist for each song.
Well, it took a little while with some songs, and other songs just sort of clicked immediately. For instance, the song, there's a video online for this particular song, We the People, which is it's just about how dumb planet Earth is and how dumb people are in general. I was writing it, I actually wrote it about Brexit and all that, and it sort of tilted into sort of some anti-religion and some politics and stuff. But I'd been sort of following Ayatoya, who's a Chicago-based musician, and she's awesome. And when I sort of was talking to her, and then I wrote this song, and it was like, oh, her name's Anya. This has got Anya written all over it. But also because it's quite a busy track, it needed some other stuff because there's like shouty vocals in there and gang vocals. So I had, I'd already met this nice young lady called Mia Flux, who's got a real belting, soul type voice, and that sort of all melded quite nicely together. And then there's another singer called Whitney Chai, who is amazing, and you should check her out. And she does the sort of cross section of pop rock type stuff, and she's getting quite a lot of exposure right now. She's just got a beautiful voice, and I just knew that she sang on a song called Blind and also on a song called Without You, you know, and I knew they would work. And then there's Mia, who I mentioned. I wrote this song called American, which is not particularly against America. I actually started writing it about those idiots that let fireworks off all the time.
Yep.
And it started like that, and then I got this chorus, and I knew I wanted it to be ballsy. So Mia's pretty ballsy. She's like Italian American, doesn't take, you know, any nonsense from anyone, and swears like a sailor. But she's got, you know, she can nail anything. She can do. I think she's done some opera stuff as well.
Yeah. You mentioned cinema before and Game of Thrones. You're obviously a very big cinema fan. Does movies and television ever influence your writing of music, or do you solely write about the world that's around you?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. Because as I said, I do a lot of writing for sort of reality TV type stuff. So I do a lot of that. I mean, I do a lot of really awful stuff for, you know, some of these cable shows, and then. Yeah, but the stuff I really enjoy is that sort of background music, Law and Order, sort of spy chasey type stuff. That's really, I don't know how to describe it. Really, it's various people call it different things. It's you know, the guy's creeping around in an alley and you hear that sort of, it's that kind of stuff, you know, and I really like all that. And then you sort of introduce synthesizers, and then there's a hit, and then it, you know, so it's very dynamic and up and down and very sparse. So I'm very conscious about that, and that definitely comes into and I did quite a lot of trailers as well a few years ago, so I was getting, you know, doing all that big stuff, and that's all very dynamic, and it has to hit in certain places. And it's basically like a trailer's in 3 parts. It sort of starts off all mysterious and whatnot, and then there's a hit to the next part, and that's all a bit more energy, and then there's different hits. Like every 2 or 4 measures, you know, you've got a hit or something has to happen, or a drop, because the editors who cut these trailers, that's what they edit to.
Yep.
That's what influences their edit, and, you know, you get these fast edits, and they're editing to music a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so that definitely influenced me, because I'm in this sort of mode of, okay, it needs to change here. You need to add something else here and drop this out and do this. So there's quite a lot of cinematic sort of elements, I think, in the music.
Yeah. Well, Julian, I know there's a lot of people here in Australia who cannot wait to sit down and have a listen to Featured. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to our listeners out there who are thinking about sitting down and buying this album and taking a listen to it?
I would say, firstly, thank you for taking the time. There's a lot of music out there. I could go into my advertising spiel here, couldn't I? We know you have a lot of choices in music, but I'd say thank you first, and just have a listen. And if you don't like the first track, listen to the second track, because there's 14 tracks on this album, and there's some trip hoppy stuff. There's a sort of lovey song at the end. There's some really in your face type stuff, and I'd like to think that it's a record you can put on and listen to. There's a lot of ear candy going on if you listen to it on your headphones, or you can put it on in your car and bang your head down the freeway. What do you call freeway in Australia?
Yeah, freeways. Yeah, they're called freeways here as well.
Are they?
Yeah, the smaller ones are called highways, and the bigger ones are called freeways. Yep.
Oh, so it's the same as here.
Yeah.
I thought it might be the same as England, like motorway.
No, they tried to bring in this word at one point called arterials, and it just never took off. It was a government word, and it never took off. Everybody called them freeways. So you slowly watched all of the signs that said arterial road go back to Monash Freeway and Southeastern Freeway. So, yeah.
Right, I remember that. They tried to do that in England as well, and I was always like, what's an arterial road?
Yeah.
Is that some kind of special, like business centre road or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't really work, did it?
And then you get the ones like my parents live on, where it's called an old highway. It's called Old Princess Highway, and it's like, but it's still technically a highway. Like, you've built a freeway around it, but still as many cars go on the highway. So why is it an old highway? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Governments, they try these newfangled things. But yeah, no, I mean, just going back to featured, I mean, please just give it a listen. If you don't like one track, you might like another. And, just basically thank you for listening. I'm proud of it. I think some people will like it and other people won't. But if you like a cross section of music, or a broad sense styles of music, then I think you'll like some of it, at least.
Definitely. Well, we can't wait to play some more tracks off the album on our show. So thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and we can't wait to hear some new music from you in the future.
Yeah, there's more coming. I'm busy writing more stuff. So.
Awesome. Well, I hope you stay safe. Stay safe from the heat there in LA, and stay safe from the pandemic as well. And hopefully we get to chat to you when the new music comes out as well.
Likewise, Dave. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Not a problem at all, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great night.
All right, mate.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.